Hello, I'm Dave Moore with PITC, and today we're going to be going over the testing procedure for a DCVA. The model of DCVA we're testing today is a 007 watts 3/4 inch DCVA. The first thing we're going to do when we test this device is we're going to flush and clear our test cocks. Once we've flushed and cleared our test cocks, we're going to take our high hose and connect it to test cock number 2. The first test that we do on a DCVA is check 1 and forward, or a pressure differential across check 1. We have a minimum spring tension of 1 psi on check 1 on our DCVA, so we must maintain above 1 psi constant for 2 minutes during this test. First thing we're going to do here is pressurize our gauge and bleed any air out. Once we've pressurized and bled our gauge, we're going to isolate our device. And we're going to open up test cock number 3. During this test, we must hold above 1 psi for 2 minutes. So we're coming in at 1.4 psi. This would be recorded as a pass as long as it holds constant for 2 minutes. We're now going to move on to the next part of the test. We'll shut off our test cocks, remove our high hose from test cock number 2 to test cock number 3. And then re-establish pressure in our device. We're now going to pressurize and bleed our gauge. Once we've pressurized and bled our gauge, we're going to isolate our device. The next test on our DCVA is checking our check 2 and forward, or a pressure differential in check 2. Again, check 2 has a minimum spring tension of 1 psi, so again we must maintain above 1 psi in this test, constant for 2 minutes. As well, at the same time while we're doing this, we'll test back pressure against check 1. Again, we must maintain a constant pressure for 2 minutes. Open up test cock number 4. This is testing our pressure differential across check 2. Again, we're at 1.4 psi. That would be recorded as a pass as long as it holds for 2 minutes. And at the same time, we'll open up test cock number 2, checking reverse pressure against check 1. Again, if our gauge stays constant above 1 psi, this test is recorded as a pass, and we move on to the next portion of this test. We'll shut our test cocks, take our high hose from test cock number 3, and place it onto test cock number 4. We'll re-establish pressure in our device. We'll pressurize and bleed our gauge. Once we've pressurized and bled our gauge, we'll isolate our device. And the last test we do on a DCVA is checking our check 2 in reverse pressure. We do this by opening up test cock number 3. And now our pressure differential is too great for our gauge to read, so we're just going to drop that to a readable pressure. We must maintain a constant pressure for 2 minutes, so as long as our needle holds constant for 2 minutes here, it would be recorded as a pass. We close our test cocks, remove our high hose, and put our device back into service.